In this video, we are going to speed run the build out of a completely new AI agency from scratch all the way up until the actual launch phase where we get the ads live and all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll talk about multiple different things today. We'll talk about picking the niche. We'll also go ahead and create an offer that we can charge at least 10K plus for. We'll also go ahead and create the landing pages, the email and SMS automations, the sales pipelines, the calendars, all that good stuff, even the Zapier automations. And then also we'll pretty much go ahead and create the very first ads as well and get some ads basically live today. And just so you know that I know what I'm talking about, here is, my Stripe dashboard of my own agency where we work with law firms and we help them get more customers. And as you can see right here, for this particular month right here, as you can see, we've generated £34,000 in cash collected, which equates into roughly about $46,000, give or take. If I refresh the page to actually show you these are real numbers, as you can see, the same figure is still right here, so I'm not faking anything. So let's pretty much get right into it. So the very first thing we need to do is pick the niche. Now, for me, for the sake of this video, I already picked out the niche, which is going to be landscapers. Don't ask me why, just felt like to do that today, but you can pick out whatever niche you want, assuming it falls into these categories that I'll walk you through right now. But if you currently don't have a niche, then here's a couple of niches that you can pretty much get into. Roofers, HVAC, solar, kitchen or bathroom remodeling companies, chiropractors, or any of these other ones as an example. There is also obviously all sorts of other ones that you can pick out from as well. The main things that you want to look out for is number one, it's a local business. Number two, that it is a local business that is not tech savvy to a point where they would know how to run their own marketing or how to build out their own AI solutions as an example. So like, for example, you probably wouldn't really want to work with, somebody who works in a technical field in a sense where they pretty much, build stuff online as an example, because they probably already know how to create AI stuff themselves, right? So they wouldn't really need your service that much. But the third point that you want to look out for, which is very important, is making sure that they have a relatively high ticket offer, because this means that from your service, you will just have to help them get a couple of clients and that's it. And that already pays off for your entire service fee compared to working with some other local business that barely charges anything, but you need to help them generate hundreds of clients in order to even just break even on the fee that you actually charged, okay? Because in this video, we'll create an offer that we will sell for 10K plus, and we can only do that if we work with businesses that charge a lot to their own clients as well, basically, okay? So that's really about that. So this is how you can go about it if you currently do not have a niche. So that's about that. Pick the niche. We've picked out landscapers, so we'll go with that. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to find out a marketing offer that we can actually use for running in the ads. So for today's video, I'll walk you through how to pretty much launch your ads and all that stuff, how to book calls for your agency using ads, because that's the absolute best way to do it compared to like cold outreach or cold calling or whatever. Ads is really the best way to go. And you don't need to have a big ad spend for that. You can literally get started with like 30, 40 bucks a day. You don't need a lot of money to pretty much start running Facebook ads. But what we need to do is we need to find out an offer that other agencies in this niche are running right now that have a chance that they are actually working relatively well for them. Because we need to have an offer that we can use in the ads ourselves as well, which is going to prompt these landscapers to book a call with us. And that offer needs to be relatively incentivizing to a point where they actually are interested to book a call, because we can't really just tell them that, hey, look, we'll help you get leads or get clients and things like that. We can't really do that. We need to have some figures and some examples being shown in these ads, okay? So the best way to do that is to go into the ads library. So let's basically pop in right there, the Facebook ads library. And this is where we want to start doing the research. So this part right here probably is going to take, a decent bit of time. And here is the way how to actually do the research. You want to basically include your niche, and then you want to include any of these specific keywords right here. So like I mentioned, we go for landscapers. So we'll go for that, and then we will include this specific keyword that will allow us to start seeing some ads from other agencies. And one of the things that you're going to see is that, a lot of these ads, well, for example, if I show you maybe, let's say this one right here, what these guys are doing, it's for roofers, but they basically work for free, as you can see. That's what they see in the ad, right? They literally just pay per client, in other words, right? But chances are when the prospect is going to book a call and then they're going to hop on a sales call, these guys most likely are going to have some sort of a setup fee in place, like some sort of a upfront setup fee, which allows them to have money coming in, and then of course they work on the performance basis from there on out, or alternatively they literally have a monthly, rolling retainer with some sort of a fee on top of it. So what this means for you is that, as you're gonna do the research right now, you're gonna see some ridiculous offers being run by a lot of these, agencies, to a point where you might think that, I cannot deliver that because I do not know how to deliver such types of results. And that's completely fine, because what we need to do is we need to find an offer that we can run in the ads that's gonna be sexy enough for them to actually book a call with us. Because when they book a call with us and we're on a sales call, we can walk them through that we can help you get this offer and we can help you get these results, assuming that you can provide us these specific things, which could be a ridiculously high ad spend, or it could be, some other specific requirements and contingencies. But then what's going to happen is that we can downsell them to a different offer that's way more manageable, that you can actually deliver, but they would still find it very valuable and still something that we can sell for at least $10,000 basically. Okay, so that's kind of like the thought process right there. But let's pretty much get started with the research right here. So we want to look at the offers that these guys are running. So you want to find out these agencies, and then you want to take a look at their, Facebook pages, and then see what do they have running right now. So obviously these guys work, basically, on pay-per-job type of basis, which actually is a relatively good offer in general, because, these guys, or these roofers in other words, they would see that and be like, yeah, I have no upfront costs, and that really incentivizes them to go ahead and book a call. So that typically is a pretty good offer. But let's see. Estimates. You also want to search up specific keywords in that industry. So for example, for landscapers, they use estimates as an example, right? While for other ones, they, for example, didn't really use that type of a keyword. So let's see, what do these guys have right here? So 60 estimates in 90 days guaranteed, or you do not pay. Let's write that down, 60 or you don't pay. So you want to do a bit of research here. A little bit. You want to do a decent bit of research, not just like for a couple quick minutes. You want to spend quite a bit of time right here, because creating an offer is going to be one of the most important things you can do. Because if you create a really good offer, that's going to be one of the main things that's going to get you to $1 million. Now these guys right here are talking about painting contractors add $1 million a year in repaint projects, which for landscapers, I guess it could be like, landscapers add $1 million in new landscaping projects. Let's see, what do we have? These guys have some video ads being run. $15+ on-site estimates in the next 30 days. Get 15+, 3.5K plus landscaping projects. So in the ad copy, they are guaranteeing estimates, but in the ad credit, they are guaranteeing actual projects. And also an interesting thing that these guys are doing is they're including the average, price per client, which is really good. That's really smart to do. So 15+, 3.5K landscaping projects. Let's write that down. 15+. What is it? 30 days? Yeah, 30 days. All right. So these guys are running pretty much most of their ads with that offer. So they don't have just one ad. They have multiple ads. So that is a relatively high probability that it's actually working for them. 25 estimates booked. 25 estimates in 30 days. Okay. Let's go for guaranteed. See some other guys at the bottom. 20 guaranteed exclusive leads. These guys are working with different niches. Fencers, landscapers, and like other guys as well. 10+ jobs every 30 days or you don't pay. Let's write that down. They have a couple ads running like this. They're targeting 20K plus a month. That's a pretty good offer. 10 jobs every 30 days. Like I said, if you do not know how to deliver like that specific outcome, do not worry about it, because you just need to have an offer on the ads. When you get them on a sales call, you can downsell them to a different offer that's still really, really viable for them. Still is going to get them really good results, but it's going to be significantly easier for you to deliver. So these guys have basically the exact same offer that those previous guys had. 10 new jobs in 30 days. So those are already 2 agencies right here that we can see that are running the exact same offer. Only pay when real landscaping leads come in. No retainers, no commit, only 50 leads. So these guys are working on like a pay-per-lead model of some sort. Once again, they might have some sort of setup in place. Like this is just a marketing offer. When they're in a sales call, they can, you know, pretty much downsell them to different types of offers and all that stuff. So the mix that we have so far: 60 estimates in 90 days guaranteed return on pay, 15 plus 3.5k landscaping projects in 30 days, 25 estimates in 30 days, 10 plus jobs every 30 days or you don't pay. What I would also do is I would go and find out in other niches like roofers, for example, or concreters, or, you know, bathroom remodelers or HVAC or whatever, like some other niches as well, to see what types of offers those guys are running right there. So here, as you can see right here with these guys, 20 to 30 jobs per month is what they are basically offering right here. And as you're searching even for other niches, you can find what's working really well for those guys and kind of like take it and integrate it in your niche, basically, and be one of those. You can kind of say like one of the first people in your niche to actually use an offer that's similar to that. So what I like is I like especially this one, 10 jobs every 30 days or you don't pay. That's a really good offer right there, because for these landscapers, they already look at that and like, well, my average job is like 3k. If these guys can give me 10 every 30 days, that's an extra 30k a month that I make. Sure, I'll book a call. I'll see how they can do it, right? So that massively decreases the cost of book call, and I can get significantly more appointments being booked in. And then on the call, I can obviously, you know, downsell them to a different offer that's more manageable. For example, if I'm not too confident that I can get those 10 jobs. 15 3.5k landscape projects in 30 days. So this also is pretty solid. And then everything else is the estimates. So now what I would do is I would pop into ChatGPT and I would ask ChatGPT, you know, for some help basically. So I would say, what I'd be curious to know is how much money do they typically make from each job? Okay, so it could be smaller projects, literally just moving the lawn, for example, like 150 bucks literally. But it's a really good money generator long term. If they sign them up on like a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, they could be coming in there and like making this bit of money for many years, up until they, you know, decide to move out, for example, or whatever. Then mid-sized 500 to 2.5k, and then bigger landscaping projects like patios. Okay, so these ones are good money right here, good money. So here's the deal. Like if you look at what is it? Where do we have those guys? And also I can also use jobs. Let's see, like what else do we have if we search up for jobs? So these guys are 10 plus jobs every 30 days, or you don't pay. They probably are not helping them get these small projects at like $100, for example, because that's like only $1,000 a month that they generate, for example. They can't charge a lot of money for that. So they definitely have something in place where they would help them get bigger types of projects, and that's kind of like what I would like to do as well. I think the offer that we can go for here is obviously jobs. Let's see, jobs 30 days, then average. I would like to go for these higher ones, because like what I would just simply do is, when I would be working with our client, I would be running their ads where I would structure their landing pages, their ads, their ad copy, their ad query, their targeting towards people that would need these larger landscaping projects done, compared to these smaller guys that would need just, you know, like their lawn to be moved, for example, right? So this way there is significantly higher amount of these bigger guys coming in, right? But then there is of course going to be some of these smaller guys as well coming in that need some smaller projects or things like that, which means that will be like some extra revenue for the client. But since I'm focused on these higher ones, there is significantly more of those coming in. So I'll be focusing on that instead. That's what I'll be doing. And I'll go for 5K basically. So what I would do is I would also go for 10 jobs. I would start off with that. 10 landscaping jobs in 30 days. Yeah, 10, 5K, teeth, or you don't pay. I'll probably go with this one because I'm guaranteeing projects, which is exactly what they want. And I'm also saying that the average value is $5,000. So they see this in like 50K in 30 days, guaranteed return on pay. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. I think this offer right here will land quite well. About estimates. Fine. Let's see what's the average closing rate. Okay, so like with these lower volume ones, relatively high. Okay, mid-sized and then larger projects, 20 to 35%. Okay, so we meet in the middle between like mid-sized and larger projects, because these larger projects could be crazy, like 50K plus. Like imagine like you run the ads for a client and then you get them a couple of these 5K jobs and then like 2.5K, but then they get like 1 or 2 over a period of 3 months of working with you. Like they get 1 or 2 that are like 50K each or 25K each. That's like some really good revenue right there coming in. So it looks like the average is like about 30%, you can say. Yeah, about 30% closing rate. So I guess like if we do the math, if we look at maybe, let's say like 60 estimates, 30% closing rate, it's about 18 clients, each about 5K as an example. Some are lower, some are 5K, some are, you know, maybe you get like them a couple clients, like 1 or 2 clients over a period of like, you know, 3 months. That are like 50K or 30K or something along those lines, and it really shoots up the numbers. So it could be like about 90 grand right here basically. So even for estimates, even going for estimates could be good. Like either like 25 estimates in 30 days guaranteed on pay, with an average price per estimate being 5K, or 60 or over 90 days. Either of these actually would work, but I would definitely include the actual price of the project or the estimate. That would be huge. Yeah, that's something that I think these guys right here are lacking. If you include this right here, then that would be really good. That's definitely gonna increase our click-through rates and also decrease your cost of bulk call. So we'll go over this. So 10K, I mean 10K, 10 clients, 5K landscape projects, 30 days guaranteed on pay. So we'll do that. So if you do the math for that, for example, that would be, obviously that would be the marketing offer. That will be marketing. You're probably not gonna sell that marketing offer. Downsell, something that I think would be more manageable. I think we can go for these 60 estimates, because in order for me to guarantee actual signed clients, it will be a bit risky for me, because they need to do a good job on their end to actually sign these clients. Do you know what I mean? But I can control the appointment booking process. I can control the lead generation, such as the estimates as an example, but I cannot control how many clients they sign, because that's really up to them how good they are at sales, right? So what I would do is I would use this offer to get them in on a call, and then on the sales call, we'll tell them that, hey, look, I can get you this, but we need to have these and these requirements. If you do not qualify, we can get you a different offer, which is this offer right here, which I think we could go for 60 estimates in 90 days. Yeah, we could go for this offer right here as a downsell. So that basically means that is we are downselling them, because with 60 estimates, that's basically booked appointments where they give a quote to them for that project. Depending on the industry that you could be in, that could range between literally between $50 to $150 cost per booked appointment / estimate. So you meet in the middle, we could be looking at about $100 cost per estimate. And over a period of 90 days, that will be about 6K spent. So that means that we need to have the client provide us a minimum ad budget of 6 grand over a period of 3 months. But I would add a couple extra $100 there just to be safe. So I would basically require them to give me 2.5K as an example, 2.5K a month spend. So here is where the numbers get interesting, because, and also like for me, in order to get the jobs, for example, let's do the math real quick. So 30% close rate. Let's see. So we need about 34 estimates. I would probably go even for more than that, because, you know, they might claim that they have a 30% closing rate, but they might have even less than that in reality when you sign a client. So let's say, because right now I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the ad budget that we need them to give us in order to make it more unreasonable for us not to get them those 10 clients a month as an example, if we would sign them up for that offer. So 67 estimates average. So if you work with them for 3 months, because you want to sell a program that's 3 months, you want to sell just 1 month off thing, you know what I mean? You want to sell like 90 days. That's usually the sweet spot, because it gives you enough time to actually, you know, run the ads, generate the results for the clients and things like that. So over a period of 3 months, that'll be 201. And if our cost per book call is, let's say, $100, that's about 20K in spend that we would need them to give us over a period of 3 months, which is about 6.7K a month. I'll probably round that up to like 7K just to be, well, actually probably no, I'll round it up closer to about maybe like 8K just to be a bit more safe. So 8K month spend. So here's what I would do. I would hop on a sales call with them, because here's the thing, like I would run this offer right here, for example, on the ads. They would see that, they'll be interested in that, they opt in, they reach out, they book a call. Because this is a very no-brainer offer, literally zero risk. There's gonna be a good amount of these landscapers booking a call with me. So what I would do right here is I will get on a call with them, and because I have a lot of them being booked in, because the offer is really good, my cost of book call really goes down a lot. So I can run ads with even like 30, 40 bucks a day spend. And I get on a call with them. A lot of these guys will not even remember this offer. That's, you know, really how this space works. But the ones that do remember, I can tell them that we can get you this result as long as you can provide us an ad spend of 8K a month, minimum. If you cannot, that's completely fine, because we have another offer where we can get you 60 estimates in 90 days instead. And the ad spend requirement for that is only 2.5K. So they would obviously go for this right here, right? They'll buy this, and then later on, you know, they might, you know, consider obviously increasing the spend and things like that. But most people wouldn't be, you know, too much interested to start off with spending 8K right out at the get-go. And you would also want to figure out like some other requirements as well besides just the ad spend, like what could be other requirements that they would need to have to truly make it unreasonable for you not to get in these 10 jobs, basically. Okay. So, but here's where the numbers get really interesting, because we want to sell or offer for 10K minimum, but you can only do that if you generate enough value, enough revenue for the client in a sense, right? Because if they don't make much money from your service, then no way you're not going to be able to charge them 10 grand. You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of people go wrong, because they, you know, pretty much charge for, you know, their fee for like, you know, $1,000, 2,000 a month as an example, right? They are stuck in this loop where they are not able to charge anymore, because they do not provide enough value to the client. So if we do them out right here, for example, 60 estimates, if they have an average close rate of 30%, that yields into how many clients? Was it 18 clients? An average value per client, 5K. That's about 90 grand in revenue that they could be generating in 90 days. Because yeah, like I would just simply run ads for them, targeting like these more like slightly larger projects in a sense. So this way, you know, there is multiple leads coming in that need larger projects basically, and the average is 5K per project, because maybe some projects could be like 2K, you know, maybe some clients they get might be like these very small ones that, you know, sign up for like a weekly or a bi-weekly you know, service where they move their loan, for example. And then there could be maybe over a period of 3 months where they sound like maybe 3 clients, give or take, that are, you know, relatively bigger, such as like 25K, 30K, and things like that. And also this is only for the, and this 90K, by the way, is also only something that they make just up front throughout these 90 days. Because a lot of these landscapers, they also, I would assume, have a relatively decent lifetime value, because if they sign a client, then they do a good job, the client's gonna come to them again for later on with some other projects. And especially if it's like a lawn care one, for example, right? Then yes, it could be like just $200 a week as an example, or bi-weekly, but over a period of a couple of years, it really adds up a lot, right? So it's totally fair for us to even charge for this 10 grand, because if you look for 90 days, we can help them generate roughly about 90K in revenue, provided that they have a 30% closing rate, which most of these guys would probably do if you speak with them from qualified leads, assuming, you know, if you do a good job to generate qualified leads. Then we could be looking at 90K, which means that we could quite easily charge 10K for this, because that is only about 11 or 12% of the entire value that you generate for them. Typically, the rule of thumb is you want to charge between 10 to 15% of the entire value that you generate for a client. So if you generate a client, let's say like 100 grand in revenue, then you want to charge generally between 10 to 15,000 dollars. So if you meet in the middle, about 12.5K is what's totally fair for you to charge as your service to actually help them get that result. So here, since we are helping them generate about 90K, we could quite comfortably charge 10K for the actual program. So that's what we are going to do basically. So we have figured out the marketing offer, which is this one right here, 10 projects in 30 days guaranteed, or you don't pay. And then the downsell is 60 estimates. So we can figure that out. Next up, let's figure out the deliverables. So the number one thing we'll help them, of course, is ads. So yeah, essentially the entire ads management, that's the number one thing we're gonna help them with. That's gonna help us generate leads coming in. The second thing gonna help them is once we have leads coming in from the ads, we then want to obviously qualify those leads and book them in on an appointment so that the client is able to give them an estimate. The way how we're gonna help them with the qualification, the appointment booking process is going to be through a couple of things. Number one, we will help them set up an AI agent, an AI outbound agent, then also an AI inbound agent for incoming calls, and also place a human appointment setter. So we will build out the entire AI intake system that will call these leads, but also we would place a human setter who can also call leads as well, because you don't want to just rely on AI alone. You want to also have some sort of human element there as well. So ads is going to help them generate leads. They will help them do the intake, so that's going to help them with that. And then the other thing we're going to help them with is sales and conversion. Provide a bulletproof sales script. Yeah, so basically create a sales script that they can use. You can sign the first client, take the sales structure they currently use, put it into ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to create a significantly better sales structure, and then basically have the client run with that. Okay, so this way you're basically helping them across the entire step of the way, and also throwing some bonuses there as well, such as, you know, review, like, you know, basically how to ask clients for reviews. For example, scale to 200 plus Google reviews on their Google business profile. And I would also help them with content. So this way they can build a long-term presence online and start getting leads complete for free as well from organic content. And I also think what other bonuses I could give. So we could technically even ask ChatGPT really like what bonuses we could give, and then it would pretty much, you know, come up with the ideas. But also as you would go throughout your journey in this agency, you would also like see what typically are the problems they experience, and they would also, you'll be able to figure out like what other bonuses you could be able to give them. So basically right here, helping the client with the entire step of the way to truly make it unreasonable for them not to get to that 90K or a period of 90 days with the 60 estimates, provided they have a 30% closing rate. We help them with the ads, we help them with the intake, we even help them with the sales by coaching them and providing the script. We also throw in the bonuses in there, such as how to get their Google reviews to 200 plus reviews, right? How they can reignite their old leads, for example, that have, you know, been dead for quite some time, basically. How they can reignite those and get them to buy again. And also some other bonuses on like what other extra small things they can do to increase their closing rate, such as providing some sort of a discount if they do not buy right on the spot, or maybe some other things as an example, right? And then also content is another thing that we are helping them with right here as well. So we're providing a lot of value to these guys to truly make it unreasonable not to get to that 90K minimum in revenue for them over a period of 90 days. So we can definitely charge 10 grand for this. They would definitely see the value in this. So that's basically what we would do right here. Hey, what's going on, guys? Hear me just popping up real quick after I recorded the video. One of the things I forgot to mention in this part right here was that you also want to help them with the sales process creation. So not just simply generate the leads from the ads and the intake, and then also the sales script, and then the other bonuses as well that I mentioned in this part right here. You also want to help them create the landing pages that you're going to send the leads to for your marketing purposes, and also the email, SMS automations, and a couple other things like that as well from A to Z. So basically the entire sales from the beginning all the way up until the end. You can use Go High Level, basically create this for them. And in the later stages of this video, I explain how you can pretty much set up Go High Level for yourself as well when it comes down to your landing pages, your workflows, your email automations, and all that stuff. And a lot of those things you can kind of like go ahead and copy for the client as well, but that's another thing that I forgot to mention as part right here that you definitely want to do for the clients. And also there is a bunch of other tips I can share with you when it comes down to how to create an extremely irresistible offer that you can charge 10K, 15K, 20K a pop for, and even more than that. So if you want me to record a complete separate video just about how to, you know, create an offer that's really good, then let me know in the comment section down below. Next thing we want to do is basically come up with nurturing assets. Because one of the things that you'll need to do is when you book calls to these guys, you really want to make sure these guys are nurtured before they hop on a sales call with you, because if they have no idea what you do, then it's going to be a complete waste of your time to even speak with them, because you'll have to educate them and the call is just going to be not really that great compared to if somebody hops on a call with you being already nurtured and knows what you do and they're very curious to learn more how you can apply this to their specific business right there. So you want to find out, you want to pretty much go and create a couple of long form pieces of content like YouTube videos between 4 to 6 where you talk about specific problems in the landscaping niche and how you typically help clients solve those issues. And then you would send those to them when they book a coverage or when they opt in as a lead. You would send those to them and they will be way more nurtured before they even speak to you. So here's a couple of really good videos that you can record. Like this is number 1. So basically like go through your entire process of how, like really like a lucid chart of some sort, like a flow chart, where you show them A to Z how you typically help landscapers get results, get 10 to 20 extra projects a month using ads and AI. Then 90% landscaping leads are wasted, and how AI stops that. You can talk about the fact that a lot of landscapers do not pick up the phone calls from their leads because they are on site actually doing the job, so they do not have the time to pick up the phone calls from new leads that are coming in. So because of this, they are losing on a lot of money. So you can create a video talking about how AI calling agents fix this, right? How they can call those leads in the first 5 minutes to pre-qualify and all that stuff. How to attract bigger landscaping projects. Literally tell them what I kind of like mentioned to you on this video today, which is, structure ads where you go after, bigger projects in a sense, like patios and some other ones, compared to running, ads like every other landscaper would you be, do you need a landscaping company to help you with whatever? If yes, then reach out to us. We are here. We will pretty much help you with lawn mowing, or we will help you with whatever else it is. So instead of it being generalized, being a little bit more specific. These are a couple of styles of content that we could actually produce right here. Let me actually write this down. I'll create a video about being the price shoppers, but probably wouldn't really talk about too much about AI there. I would integrate something there, like how they can create a really good offer that's way more unique, where instead of them selling like a generalized service that everybody else does, they also integrate some bonuses in there as an example, right? Like, I don't know, like for example, like if it's mowing the lawn, for example, they have some sort of additional bonuses there, for example, of maybe some sort of ebooks or guides they could give to the client on how to take care of their lawn on their own before we arrive next, for example, right? Or I don't know, maybe some sort of a bonus on how to decorate your lawn with like, whatever things you put there, like a grill or whatever. Like, I don't know, like something like this. Basically like how to beat the price shoppers by having probably a better offer. I think that would be good. Beating price shoppers with an irresistible offer. And whatever else. You want to record as much content as possible, but the bare minimum would be at least 4, basically, so that you can have that in your nurturing assets when they book a call. So the next thing after this is let's get on to actually creating the landing pages. Now, a couple other things that I forgot to mention that we have to do before we get into designing the actual landing page is number 1, figuring out the agency name. Number 2, also figuring out the logo. And then number 3, also figuring out what is going to be the sub niche of the landscapers that we are going to be going after, meaning that like what's going to be the actual bare minimum revenue mark that we are going to be aiming for them to actually be qualified to book a call with us. So that's why let's actually use ChatGPT for these details once again. So let's figure out the actual agency name right now. So we can ask something along the lines of like, so you can ask a prompt something along the lines of like this, and let's see what sort of names does it come up with. I like this one right here, Leadscape AI, but I would like to change it to Landscape AI. I think that'll be pretty good. Let's say that to ChatGPT. And we also want to ask it to create a logo now. So I'm going to use a prompt like this. Imagine you are a logo designer that's been paid 20 grand to actually create a logo. Can you now go ahead and create a logo for me? All right, here we go. I think it looks pretty good actually. Only thing that I would probably like to do is I would like it to basically change the text from green to white, so that when we actually put it on a landing page where the background is going to be a little bit darker, this way the logo pops out a little bit more. So I'm gonna ask a prompt like this to change the color to white and also make the outline of that leaf to be white so that it pops out significantly more on the landing page. All right, I think this looks pretty good. The only thing that I would need to do right now is I would need to crop it and also remove the background from green to being transparent, which I can technically ask ChatGPT to do as well. But I think it's gonna be easier for me to just go ahead and do it myself. I'm gonna use Photoshop to do this. So just gonna remove the actual background here, just like that. And then I'm gonna crop it as well, just like this. Perfect, and now we've got the logo. I'm gonna save that thing and then we go back on here and we want to ask one more thing to ChatGPT, which is the sub-niche of the audience to go after in terms of the revenue. We've seen from some of the ads on the Facebook ads library that the other agencies, what they're doing is they're pretty much targeting these landscaping companies and calling them out. You know, basically calling them out saying that, hey, are you a landscaping business making 25K plus per month? If yes, then listen up. So they're using 20 to 25K revenue mark as the bare minimum to be qualified to actually, you know, reach out to that agency. But let's ask ChatGPT if using the research points that we have and things like that, whether that will be a good, you know, revenue figure to go after, or whether we would need to kind of like adjust that a tiny bit. So I'm gonna ask a prompt like this, asking ChatGPT to help me figure out what revenue figures should we be calling them out for in regards to the actual marketing offer that we have, and then also the downsell offer. So let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it kind of like also is advising to do 25K minimum. So for the marketing offer, it's mentioning that we could be going after 60K plus a month, or for the downsell offer, we could be doing 25K to 60K a month. I think because of the fact that we are going to obviously market the main offer on the ads, and then when they're gonna call, if they do not qualify for the marketing offer, we can then downsell them to the downsell offer, which is exactly what we want to do. We can also go for 25K plus. So this way we get a mix of some people, because if we do 25K plus a month, then we're gonna get some people that are making 25K, some that are making 20K, and then some that are making like 50K, 100K, 200K even, essentially, you know? So that's what we are going to go with here. So since we have this, now let's go ahead and actually start creating the landing pages. We'll use Go High Level for this. So we'll use this today for creating the landing pages and everything else in regard to the technical standpoint as well. I already have the template of the landing page that we are gonna use, and I'll show you that right now, which you can pretty much go ahead and copy yourself as well. The template looks exactly like this, very simple. We just call out the audience right here, we include what the offer is. Then we have a VSL or a DSL right here below. If you don't know what a DSL is basically a deck sales letter, which is basically like, you know, you taking what would you normally explain in a VSL, and then you would just simply translate that into text format into a deck instead, and so people have the option to kind of like slideshow through it instead of watching a whole video. And then below we'll have the actual booking calendar that people can use to book a call. So let's go ahead and pretty much create this landing page right now. The first thing I'll do is I'll attach a logo right here, just like that. As you can see, the logo pops up, although I think I might want to change the size a little bit so it's a tiny bit bigger. Yeah, something like this. I think that looks pretty good. Next up, let's include the actual audience color right here. So we'll do landscapers above 25K, and then we are going to include right here our marketing offer, which is this offer right here. We'll guarantee you then $5,000 using AI, and I would like to change the name of the AI tiny bit, where we have some sort of branding to it, so it's a little bit more curious for them. So once again, let's use ChatGPT to come up with some ideas of how we can name our AI. I'm gonna use a prompt like this, see what it spits out. Evergreen AI, Greenflow AI. Okay, that's pretty good. Job Booker AI. I think let's just go for Evergreen AI. I think that's pretty good to start off with. And then I'm gonna change the size of this statement right here, or you don't pay. Something like this. Landscapers about 25K a month will guarantee you 10, 5K. So like maybe like 5K plus jobs. Let's do 5K plus. We'll guarantee you 10 5K plus landscaping projects in 30 days using or Evergreen AI, or you don't pay. Although I'll probably change it. Yeah, I think like this is gonna be good. Yeah, I'm just gonna change it a little bit, remove guarantee from here, and I'm gonna put it at the bottom right here. Other thing I'm gonna do is gonna change the logo right here below, like this. Very important, you want to have this right here below, this disclaimer, or else Facebook is just simply not gonna allow you to run the ads, because they'll have their kind of like their system check your landing page, and if there is no disclaimer, then it's gonna basically reject your ads. So that's why you want to have this disclaimer right here as well. Now, before we add the DSL or VSL and also the calendar booking, I want to change the colors of the landing page so that it matches the branding colors of the agency. I'll go for something that's kind of green, basically. Although this is a little bit too bright green, I'm gonna go something that's a little bit darker. I think something like this is gonna do it. We'll spend a bit more time on tweaking the colors a tiny bit more. You can also add some background images right here as well. And then as you are tweaking the colors right here, it's, you know, kind of like blends together and could, you know, make it be a relatively good design. But I'm gonna go with this one. This looks pretty good to start off with, basically. And then the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the color of this background here. I think for some that's a little bit lighter, probably something like this, yeah, so it pops out significantly more. So this way, like, it's very easy for people to see the logo, they read this right away, they see the actual offer, they see this right here in red colors. Very easy for them to see and very easy for them to read. The next thing we're gonna do is we want to add the actual scheduling calendar right here below. So I'm gonna save this landing page right here. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go into the calendars. I click on calendar settings and then I'm going to create the calendar. Now I already have a couple of templates right here created. Basically the one I'm going to use is going to be this one right here, because we have 3 calendars, but really this one is going to be for the follow-up calls, this one is going to be for sales call scheduling, and this is going to be for discovery call scheduling. Because sometimes what's going to happen is, you know, when you take a first meeting with a prospect, let's say it's a discovery call, obviously, right? You take that call, sometimes what happens is that you don't have enough time to actually go through the entire sales stage and the presentation on that one sales call, because maybe let's say you have spent a bit too much time on the discovery stage because the prospect likes to talk a lot, or maybe you have a lot of questions that you ask them to actually find out their pains and their desires, and you have spent a decent amount of time there. So that means that you don't have enough time to actually go into the pitch itself because the prospect is running late for another meeting or whatever. So that's where you have another calendar where you can actually use that calendar to schedule that second pitch, for example, right? So that's the purpose of the second calendar right here. But this right here will be the first calendar. You want to create a discovery calendar. The way how I usually like to name it is something along the lines right here, where we include the agency name. So for us, obviously, what was it? So I'm gonna put that name, Landscape AI, Breakthrough Strategy Sessions, and then I'm gonna use the actual source of the booking right here. So we're gonna use Facebook ads and book calls. So I'm gonna use FB right here, which indicates that this is a Facebook ad calendar, basically. So I'm gonna click on save. And then I want to adjust the availabilities right here. Now this is what you're gonna adjust depending on, you know, how you can take calls, but I usually recommend to have slot intervals of 15 minutes, meeting duration 45 minutes, so that you have enough time. Minimum scheduling notice, you obviously adjust this depending on like what's kind of like your scheduling notice in a sense. Date range, I'm gonna put as 4 days, and then the rest I'm gonna keep exactly like this. I'm gonna click on save. And then the other thing I'm gonna do right here in the forms section, you want to include the actual form for them to fill out when they book a call. And I'm gonna walk you through here in a couple minutes how to create a form and stuff like that. But so far, that's basically about it. That's everything that we need to do on this specific calendar right here. So I'm gonna click on save. I'm gonna exit. I'm gonna go back into the sites section. And I'm going to connect that calendar right here. So I'm gonna click on the calendar at the very bottom and just choose the calendar, which is this one. As you can see now, it pops up and people can actually choose the time for the call and things like that. I'm gonna click on save. And the last thing that we need to do right here is we need to attach the actual VSL or a DSL. Depending on like what way you kind of like decide to go, whether you want to create a video sales letter for your agency or want to create a deck sales letter, really is up to you. Depending on like which you go with, you'll use a different type of a you know, drag and drop tool right here. So I'm gonna use a video, for example, if you're gonna include a VSL as an example. But if you're gonna use a DSL, then you want to use custom code element instead. Now for the sake of this video, I'm gonna use a DSL instead. It's going to be a little bit easier to build it, but I'm not going to build the entire thing because that by itself would take a couple of hours just to do. But I'm gonna show you the framework to use if you want to have a kind of like an asset created that explains everything as a VSL would, but do it quicker compared to having to record an entire VSL, because a VSL is going to take a bit more time to record than creating a DSL. And if I'm not mistaken, I think originally who came up with the idea of a DSL was a guy called Jeremy Haynes, but I might be wrong, but you know, I think that he might have been the one that actually came up with this idea first. And you can go ahead and check out his content on YouTube. He's got some really good stuff going on there. But the very first thing we're going to do is we want to include right here the actual market callouts. So once again, for us, what was it? Landscapers about 25K a month. So let's include that right here. And then we want to include right here the offer. So once again, let's copy this guaranteed or you don't pay. And then the other thing I want to do is I also want to include a logo here as well. So just going to drop in the logo here, something like this. Let's see, let's copy this. It's going to fit. No, it doesn't. So let's paste that right here as well. All right, next thing, call out the market once again right here. Who is this for? Landscapers above $25,000 a month. That's the only people that we are interested in. And who is this not for? So I want to include right here, who is this not for? So this way you do not get some completely different businesses booking calls with us. So it tells us that if you are any of these, then please leave immediately. Next slide. Now, just so you know how this actually works, let me show you some proof. And that's where you then want to include proof. Now, if you don't have any case studies, then I mean, it is what it is. You want to skip this part. But if you do have case studies, then go ahead and include as much social proof as you physically can. Then we have this slide right here. And then next up, we go right here. I'm gonna edit this. You're gonna keep it like this. This is some good messaging right here. Next up is this one. And not to mention we actually practice what we preach, using the same process for our own business as well. Because here's another thing, like what you're gonna be doing for your clients is kind of like what you do as well yourself, because you're gonna build them ads which will reach out to their ideal audience, which is exactly what you're doing for yourself as well. You'll then basically, you know, have an appointment setter that you place in their business who's gonna call the leads as well, along with AI. So you pretty much have something similar going on for yourself as well. And then when you know, help these landscapers book these calls, you also will help them with sales by, you know, giving them a better sales script as an example, right? Which is something that you're gonna do yourself as well. You're gonna use a better sales structure and a sales call to actually close these deals. So you basically practice what you preach. You pretty much do the exact same process yourself as well. So what you want to do right here is when you start closing deals and you start signing clients for 10K plus, right, with the offer that we have just created, and you generate leads, you book appointments, things like that, then what you want to do is you want to even include your own social proof here, saying that using the exact same systems, we have generated some really good results for our own business. Here's some results, and literally include some payments, like some payment notifications from clients coming in, and some booked appointments, the amount of leads you've generated, things like that. So these guys not only see results that you have generated for your clients, but also the results that you are generating yourself using the exact same system. So the next slide then is going to be this, and then right here I'm going to include the offer. Yeah, so if that's all you need to hear and you want 10 5K plus landscape projects in 30 days using our evergreen AI guaranteed or you don't pay, then book a call from the counter below. It's not a high pressure sales call, because if you don't get results, I'm going to include the offer here once again. If you don't get 10 5K plus landscape projects in 30 days, we'll have to refund you in full. So gonna book a call now. Then it asks them, now if you want to know why this works so well, stick with me and I'll give you a couple simple reasons why. So this is where I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna proceed with creating any more slides just for the sake of this video, because like I said, if I'm gonna do it, then it's gonna take, you know, a relatively long time just to create this thing alone. But you want to include between 20 to 25 more slides right here after this, where you explain in very simple logical terms why your system works, and include as much proof as you can. You can use analogies, you can show diagrams, you can show, you know, some lucid charts of some sort, you can show multiple different things to actually point the messaging across in a very simple and in a very logical way. Because with a lot of these, you know, in the B2B space, with a lot of these businesses, they are very sophisticated buyers. You're gonna still use emotion to sell them, but for a lot of them, it's really gonna be more about logic and numbers and theory and things like that. So this is where you want to explain in very simple terms, in a logical way, why your stuff works, so that by the end of them going through this, they're like, oh yeah, I definitely see how this will work. So basically the exact same thing that you would do on a VSL, but you would basically transcribe the information into text format and put it right here instead. So once we have created this thing, the next thing we need to do is you need to put that on the landing page. And the way how you do that is through clicking on files right here, because you create this presentation on Google Slides. You click on files, you click on share, and then you click on publish to web. And then you're gonna go into the embed section. You can keep this as medium. And then you wanna change how quickly the slides change automatically. I typically like to do like 5 seconds so people have enough time to at least read the text that's on the each particular slide. And then I'm also gonna click on this button right here. Then we should be able to click on publish. It's gonna give us the code. Now, in theory, you can use this code to already put it on the landing page, but it's not gonna look visually appealing. That's why we want to use ChatGPT to customize it a little bit. So we need to ask ChatGPT a prompt like this, saying that we have a slideshow presentation that I want to embed on my landing page on Go High Level. And here's the code that I have. And then I want to ask ChatGPT to customize it however necessary in order for me to properly format it and put it on a landing page so it properly fits different device screen sizes. Because if you're gonna put this, what you're gonna notice is that, you know, on one device it's gonna look good, but on the other device it's gonna be a little bit too much on the left or too much on the right, for example, right? So it's not gonna be centered. So that's why I want to use ChatGPT for this, so that it can create a better code. So this right here, I think might do it. So we just wanna copy that. Then we go on Go High Level here. Then click on save, and let's see if this one is gonna work. So let's click on the I button so we can see it on the landing page on the website. Looks like it does show up. We'll just go with this right now. And the last thing that we need to do on this landing page is we need to optimize it for mobile as well. So I'm gonna change the sizes, the text and the logos here on the mobile so it fits perfectly there as well. And also we're gonna change the padding as well a tiny bit. Be right here. All right, so that should technically do it. That should look good. So let me save that and let's basically roll with this. Awesome. So we got the actual booking page created right here. So we can start to roll with this one. So the next thing we want to do is we want to customize the thank you page, because now what happens is that when they book the meeting, which is through his calendar, and they schedule it in, it's going to send them, we want to send them to the next step. So when I click on this, go to the next step. So once they have booked an appointment, it then sends them to the next step. And we want to now go ahead and actually create the landing page for that second step, which is going to be the thank you page. And this is going to be a very important landing page right here, because when they book that call, we want them to familiarize themselves with us as much as possible through consuming some content, and then also kind of like making sure that they accept the calendar event for the show up basically. So I want to explain a couple of details here, how they can do it. So this is how we can structure landing page. You know, have the color right here at the top saying that do not leave this page yet. I'm gonna change the color of this so it matches the color of the branding elements. All right, so next up, let's change the market color right here, how we help landscapers. So like this. And then right here below, I would like to include a video which walks me through the process of how we actually get results for these guys. So the very first asset that's on the booking page could be either VSL or DSL, like I mentioned, but it's constructed in a way where, you know, you're not talking too much in detail about the actual process of how you get results. But right here, what you want to do is you want to include a video that talks about the process a little bit more in depth. So this way, when they get in a call, they already know how the system kind of works. So the best way how I found to do that is through creating like a diagram of some sort, like a lucid chart or a Miro board, and then screen sharing your video, and then walk them through the process, and then include that right here. And then also include the estimate time right here, how long it's going to take them to actually review that video. So go ahead and create a video like that and then pop it right here at the very top so they can watch that. And then right here below, include a quick story about, you know, how you got started basically, like why are you working with landscapers, an example, and things like that, right? And you know, really the way how you can do that is by just simply stating along the lines of like, you know, that you noticed a gap in the market, that a lot of landscapers were relying on, you know, lead providers that were sending them a bunch of unqualified leads. So we saw a massive gap in the market, but landscapers needed to grow their business. We found out what works really well in the marketing space, and we created a system, which is this AI system that now helps landscapers to grow their business and things like that. So that's something along the lines that I would actually include right here. So you can also use ChatGPT for this, saying something along the lines of like this. And then obviously it comes up with something, you read that through, make sure it's actually good. And then after that, go ahead and include that right here. Make sure the spacing is good. And yes, something like this, basically, right? And then include your name right here. We'll like a quick, nice story so that they not only review the process, but they can also read a little bit about your story as well. Then of course, the second step is this right here, telling them to confirm the appointment. And then at the very bottom, you want to include social proof, and you also want to include the actual nurturing assets that we talked about previously, which are these videos right here. So go ahead and record them and then upload them on YouTube or, you know, wherever else, and then put those videos right here in the section right here. So you can obviously change this from client wins to, you know, something along the lines like review or value assets as an example, something like that. And then you can include the title of the first video right here, for example, something like this. Second one, I'll try to find a way to shorten them a tiny bit as well, because for example, with especially this very first one, you know, it's quite long. So like it's gonna take quite a bit of space, although it's still kind of fine, but that's an option right there. And then you record these videos, put them here, and then of course include some more right here below, and then those act as the actual nurturing assets. But if you have some case studies, then it's preferred to include case studies right here. Then even more client success right here below. If you go like client interviews, you know, of successful results for a client, you can include those right here. Include some screenshots of client messages on Slack, for example, saying that, hey, you know, results have been really great. I've closed this client today or whatever. You can include those right here. So as much as social proof as you physically can, include that right there. And then also last, I'm going to change the actual logo right here below as well. Although as you can see, since the background is gray, like color of the logo is white, you cannot see it. So I would obviously, in this case, what I would do is I would change the color of the logo black as an example in this case. I'm going to upload a black one, visible. So that's really about it when it comes down to this. And really the last thing we're going to do as well is, and then change the actual, you know, SEO details of this right here as well. So landscape thank you page, basically, right? So change these details. These are some minor things, nothing too crazy, but change them as well so that everything is significantly even better. Save that and do the exact same thing as well on the first page as well. Just like this, book a call date and then save. And then you also want to go and publish this, obviously, but I cannot publish because I do not have a domain attached to the sub account. So that's actually one of the next things that you would need to do, because now we have a landing page, we have the thank you page, but the next thing we're gonna need to do is obviously add the domain, which you do in the settings section right here. Click on domains and URLs, agree to the terms of service and stuff like that, and then you want to add the domain right here. Now, I'm not gonna do it in this video because I do not have a domain purchased for this test agency, basically, but you want to go right here. Add the domain is going to give you the details, and then you go ahead into your, you know, domain provider, whatever it is, GoDaddy or something else, and then you just put those details in there so it gets it connected. And then after that, you can go back into the sites, click on settings, and then you can select the domain right here, and then click on save, and then you can also then go ahead and basically change the actual path of the landing page, because it's gonna include your domain right here, and then you want to include right here something along the lines of like book now, for example, and you click on update page. So it's gonna basically make the landing page be, you know, have a really good URL. It's gonna be your agency name slash and then the actual book now, basically. So you can then use that for, you know, booking calls and stuff. So that's about that. The next thing we're gonna do is gonna create a form that we are going to connect to the actual calendar that we have created. I already have a template of the form created, but you just want to go into the forms right here, click on builder, and then create a new form. And really this is the way how you want to structure the form. So at the very top, include their first name, last name, then the email and phone number. So get the contact information, which is, you know, the most important thing in general. And make sure that all of the questions you include, that you mark this as required, so they cannot skip it. Okay. Then the next thing I like to do is ask for the website URL, then ask for what is their current monthly recurring revenue, how are they currently generating leads, what's the biggest obstacle, and if there was a 1000% guaranteed ROI, but they have the financial ability to invest. And then a quick disclaimer saying that this call is going to be hosted on Zoom, or, you know, if you don't take Zoom calls, let's say you do Google Meets, and you obviously change to Google Meets, but you include this right here so that these guys do not get confused where the call is going to be hosted on. So I'm going to click on save on that, although I'm going to change the name of the form a bit, landscape AI, save this stuff, and then we're going to go into calendars then, and then you want to find our calendar that we created earlier, this one, go into forms and make sure that it's actually connected. So for me, it's already connected, click on save. So this then means that if I refresh the page, I scroll down, as you can see right here, it is this stuff right here, basically. And once if I fill out this information, I click on schedule meeting, it's gonna send me to the next page, which we just created. That's the way how that works right there. So that's about that. We got this done, got the calendar created, got the form connected, stuff like that. So all that is done right now. Now, the other thing that I'm gonna walk you through right now real quick is going to be the phone number, because you need to hire an appointment setter for your agency to call these leads as well as they're coming in, as opposed to just relying on AI alone. And if in the very beginning you don't have an appointment setter, but you want to launch as quickly as possible, then you can pretty much do the intake yourself. So when the leads are coming in, you call them yourself. But I would highly advise to get an appointment setter instead, eventually. So in order for you to call these leads, you know, you want to get a phone number on Go High Level. So you want to go into phone numbers right here, and then click on add number, add the number, and then choose the country where, you know, you're basically in. Well, not necessarily where you're basically in, but more as of like where you're going to be doing your marketing in. Because let's say if you are, I don't know, let's say you are in the UK, but you're going to work with US based clients, then get a US based phone number. Don't get a UK based number, because if you're going to use a UK number, you're going to call these guys in the States and they'll receive the phone call from a UK number. So that way your pickup rate could be significantly lower compared to if it is a US number. But, you know, really just choose the number wherever you're going to be running your agency in. So for the sake of this, we are going to go for US. And then you have all sorts of numbers here. So you want to click on filters, and you can either choose a local number or a toll-free number. A local number is going to be a little bit cheaper to get. As you can see, the monthly cost is literally $1.15 right here. But a toll-free number is going to be more expensive by just an extra $1, as you can see. But the toll-free number is a phone number that specifically is used by businesses, basically, right? A local number could be used by anybody. And when you work with your clients and you help them do the intake, you want to get a local number instead. Because if it's, let's say, a, you know, landscaping business somewhere in New York, then you want to get a New York phone number, because the leads that you're going to generate for the landscaping business are going to be in New York as well. So that's why having a local number there is going to be much better. But since you are going to be pretty much, you know, running ads across the entire US, for example, here, you know, as I would do in this particular example with this agency, then I would basically just go for a toll-free number instead, because it's gonna be a little bit easier to get it verified. Because when you get the phone number bought, you need to verify the details of it, that you are actually a legit business and stuff like that, and comply with all the laws and all the policies and things like that. And usually with local numbers, it is a little bit more difficult to get it approved compared to a toll-free number. So that's why I usually start off with toll-free numbers. So choose that as the filter. And then you can just simply get any single one of these. You click on this and then you click on proceed to buy. It's gonna buy the phone number, and then it's gonna ask you to start getting it verified by including some information. What are you gonna use it for? Include some example messages that you're going to send to the prospects and things like that. What sort of volume you're expecting to do every single month. And then submit that information. It's going to take a couple of days to get a response. If you get rejected, then you just, you know, resubmit again. But eventually you get approved and you can start to finally use the number to call the leads, basically. So that's the process right there about the phone number. And also you want to ensure that you enable call recording as well. So when you have that phone number bought, you will be able to click on like these three dots that are on the right here. And then you can open up the settings for that phone number, and you can include all sorts of different technical details there, such as enable call forwarding, also adjust, you know, other details. But one of the things that you definitely want to do there is you want to enable the call recording. So this way every single call gets recorded, and if you have a setter, for example, then you can review those call recordings for training purposes with the appointment setter as an example. Now, next thing that we want to do is going to go back into the calendars. And speaking about a setter, if you're going to have a setter in place, then you want to go ahead and copy this calendar right here that we just created, so that the setter can use a separate calendar for booking calls. And the way how I typically do this, I include the name of the setter here, setter name. Click on save, and then everything else should be the exact same. The reason why you want to have a separate calendar for the setter is because with the one that we just created, it's going to be specifically used for sell bookings. So when people come from the ads, they're sent to the landing page, they can sell booked on the calendar that's below, okay? But then you want to have a separate calendar that the setter is using. So this way you can track how many appointments the setter is booking, basically. So that's what we want to do right there. And then the other two things you want to do right here is you want to customize this sales call calendar, because like I mentioned, the very first calendar is the discovery call, and then the second call is the sales call, in case if you're not able to pitch on the very first call. That's where you then use the second calendar, which is the sales call calendar, to book in that second call. And this is the way how I typically like to name it. Include the actual agency name right here, Landscape AI, and then name it as a personalized strategy session, and then include your name. So for me, it's Alex. Click on save, and then obviously adjust all the necessary availabilities as well, depending on like the duration of the call and things like that. And the forms, I just keep it as like literally default, because you don't need any more information. You already have spoken the prospect and the discovery. You already have all the information you need from them. And then obviously click on save, and then you've got the sales calendar created that you can use for booking sales calls. And the last thing as well is the follow-up meeting calendar. So if you, let's say, have the sales call, you do not close the deal, then that's where you then use a follow-up calendar to schedule in the follow-up call. So get that adjusted right here as well, include the availabilities, things like that, and then that's basically done. So we got all the calendars created right here. Next thing is we want to create the CRM. So the way how we create a CRM on Go High Level is in the opportunities. Click on this, and I already have a CRM created. I have two CRMs created. One is for the ads pipeline and the other one is for the actual sales process itself. Ads pipeline is you want to create this CRM as well, exactly the exact same way how you see right here, with the two steps being lead in and then not qualified / not interested. Because when a new lead comes in, you want to create an automation, which I'll walk you through later in this video, to move them right here. And then the sales process is specifically for people that book a call. So the way we're going to do that is you want to click on pipelines and you click on create a new pipeline, and this is where you can include the information. But the stages that you need to have for the sales process are like this. So DC booked, which stands for discovery call booked, no show, cancelled, unqualified, sales call booked, no show, cancelled, follow-up booked, etc., and all the way up until deposit collected, contract sent, lost deal, or closed. So that's how you want to set it up as well. So we'll mark that as done right here. And the next thing is, which is gonna be basically the last thing here on Go High Level, it's going to be to create the workflows, which in other words are the email and SMS automations. And the way how you do that is go into the automation section right here. And I already have the templates created, which I'll use to finalize in today's video. So you can just simply go ahead and copy the exact same thing as well. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to create such an automation like this one right here. Let me open it up to show you how it looks like. This one is going to trigger as the very first trigger when somebody books a call. So you want to create a trigger where the trigger is appointment status, and then you want to include the name of the trigger, which for this particular case we're going to use the cell booking calendar. So I'm going to name it as appointment booked by ads booking link. Event type should be normal, appointment status is confirmed, and in the calendar is the actual cell booking calendar we created. So this is going to be the trigger. So when somebody books a call with that calendar, it's going to trigger this automation. The next thing you want to do is you want to then go ahead and remove them from another workflow, which is going to be the new Facebook ad lead workflow, which I'll walk you through here in a minute, what that workflow is for and how it works. But you want to, like, let me actually show it to you right now real quick so that it's a little bit easier to understand. It's basically this workflow right here. Whenever a new lead comes in, you want to have a workflow that automatically sends them emails and SMSs, prompt them to book a call. Let me actually show you this one first so it's a little bit more easy to understand. You want to have two triggers right here. Now one trigger is contact created, name it as a new Facebook lead, and then basically have it be like that lead has a tag which equals to and then the name of the tag, because we're going to use this tag with Zapier so that when a new lead gets generated through a Facebook instant form, it then sends a lead on Go High Level with the tag attached to a lead, and the tag being this exact same tag right here. So this way when somebody gets sent with that tag, it then automatically puts this person in this workflow right here. So you want to do the exact same thing as well. And then you want to have this other trigger right here as well, which is contact tag, and then the tag is added, which is this one right here. So through a combination of these two triggers, it's gonna allow this automation to get triggered. So once you do that, then you want to have the second step, which is create an opportunity. And that opportunity should be created in the ads pipeline, in the lead-in section, okay? So anybody that comes in as a lead, they're put on that lead-in section of that pipeline. Then after that, wait for 1 minute, and then after that, send them an automated SMS, exactly like this right here. So I'm gonna adjust these parts together with you on this video. Our agent's name is, what was it, Landscape AI. Yeah, so like this. This is so-and-so from Landscape AI. Just got your notification in the middle of a call, touch base shortly, where you're able to find a time to book in by chance. Click on save, and then the email. We want to create the email. So right here, include the name of yourself, include your email right here, and then keep the subject line exactly like this. Then we're gonna go down, adjust this part right here. So we wanna include right here the actual offer, right? Like what is our offer once again, which was, let's see, where was it? 10 5K plus landscaping projects, 30 days guaranteed, or you do not pay, like this. Then you wanna go and include a link to, if you have basically results for clients that you have generated, then what I would suggest you to do is create a separate landing page where you just simply include, results of your clients, just like a page with like bunch of results, which you can then put right here. Or alternatively, if you do not have that, then go ahead and create a video. For example, the video that I mentioned to create for that thank you page at the very top. Record a video like that and then literally put the link to that video right here. I'm gonna change this to the top landscaping businesses leverage using AI that allows them to follow with the leads and all that stuff. Pre-vetted landscaping business. And once again, another link to client results, for example, and then include your name right here below. So in a structured email exactly like that, very simple, it works really well. Click on save. Then wait for 21 hours and then send an email. Once again, include your name right here. And then the subject line is you want to include a resource for them right here. So if you have a case study, include a case study. If you don't have a case study, then once again, you can include one of these videos right here, for example. So let's say I'm gonna use this one, resource, I'm gonna name something like this, how to beat the price. So something like this, how to beat the price shoppers with an irresistible offer, and then the actual copy of the email. So include the information about the actual resource, such as like this right here. And also the next couple of days, I and my team are running a promotion where we will guarantee offer. And this is where we once again include for offer. So this way it acts a little bit as a scarce. If you are a landscaping business who needs more projects, then we are here for you to reach out. And also I'm going to include here the link to the video that I'm talking about right here. So include the video and include the actual URL to the video. Save, and that's it. Click on save, that's done. Wait for 22 hours, send on email. Email, you can keep it like this. Now, did you have a chance to book in yet? And then right here below, walk them through another resource, basically. Which could be, let's say the next one, for example, right? So yeah, so include that. I'm probably not gonna write it down right here because I don't wanna stretch this video to be like 10 hours. Basically, I think you guys get the point. So include the information about the resource right here, right? Like this, include a link to the video, and then once again have some urgency and scarcity right here, saying that for the next 24 hours, my team still has a couple more options left for 10 landscaping businesses, where we break down every single component need to have in their business in order to get at least 10 5K plus projects per month. And then include a link to the booking calendar right here that we created. Include your name at the bottom, click on save, and then wait for 2 days. After 2 days, send them another email. This is the subject line, been trying to reach you for a while. And then once again, include right here the offer, right? That we created, the marketing offer. And then once again, the niche. So this is like a quick bump email saying that, hey, did you have a chance to book in yet? We still have a couple options for scheduling the call. And then the other thing right here is have an SMS as well. Include the offer right here once again, the 10 5K plus projects in 30 days guaranteed your pay, and then wait for 4 more days and then send them one final email, which is going to be this right here with the subject line being my last email, and then right here just basically have a copy like this saying that hopefully I've shared enough information on how to help landscapers get 10 plus 5K plus projects in 30 days guaranteed your pay. When you're free, let's get on a quick Zoom call. Here's a link, and then include the actual link to the account. Click on save and basically get this workflow launched. So this way, whenever a new lead comes in, they're immediately going to go through this workflow, receive all those emails and all that stuff. So now let's go back to that original workflow that I was sharing with you, which is this one. So you have the trigger when they book a call through that booking calendar. You then remove them from that Facebook ads workflow because you don't want to send them emails saying that, hey, John, book a call. Like if they already booked a call, you don't want to, prompt it to book another call, right? So you want to remove them from there. Then you want to create an opportunity in the sales process pipeline in the section DC booked. In other words, discovery call booked, and then the opportunity source being ads booking. Then you also want to add them to the next workflow, which I'll walk you through here in a minute how to create, which is going to be discovery call confirmed workflow, which is going to be a workflow that they are put into when they book a call, which is going to send them the meeting link and all the value resources and things like that. So once that happens, you want to then wait for 2 minutes as well, and then send them an SMS, an automated SMS like this, which basically tells them that, hey, so-and-so, just saw that you booked in. My team and I are super looking forward to speaking with you. By the way, we have a lot of landscapers that get on a call with us, having absolutely no idea what is the service we even provide. So to make sure that this doesn't happen to you, please do yourself a favor and take 15 minutes out of your day to take a look at the resource below on exactly how we get results, blah, 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 blah. So basically you're telling them that, hey, look, I need you to look at this resource, because if you don't and you show up to the call, you'll have no idea what we do. And because of this, we'll waste our time together and we'll have to reschedule the call. So like you set some very hardcore expectations here for them to watch the resource, because like I said, guys, if they don't watch the resource before the call, or they have no idea what you do, then it's gonna be very, very difficult for you to close them for 10K or even for a grand or for 2K. Like it's gonna be very, very hard. That's why they need to watch stuff. They need to get nurtured. And when they're on a call, it's significantly easier to sell. So that's why I need to set these hardcore expectations and then include a link to the resource, that video that I told you to create about the process. Click on save, and that's it. You've got this workflow right here created. And one more thing that you want to do as well is you then want to duplicate this workflow. And what you want to do is you want to include that workflow that's basically booked in by the setter, because this first one is, it has the trigger of the original calendar, which is going to be for the landing page. But the next one that we want to create is going to be for the setter, which is this one right here. So that means that when a setter books a call with their calendar, it still puts them into this workflow that we need them to be put into, which is the discovery call book. But what we want to do right here is we want to remove this automated SMS, because the setter is already going to tell them that, hey, I need you to look at the resource. So you don't want to send another SMS saying that, hey, take a look at the resource. So we'll remove that, and then we'll click on save. And obviously also make sure you click on this publish button and save that stuff, and then that's it. Now we have these two workflows created. We also have the Facebook ads workflow. And the final ones are going to be these ones right here, which are going to be the discovery call booked and all this stuff. So let's basically go through one of these ones, every one of these ones right here now as well. So when they book a call, they're then being put into this workflow. Here's the internal notification that you want to send yourself with this subject line, which basically is an email that you receive when somebody books a new call. So you want to have that in place. Then you want to have the confirmation email being sent to the prospect. So once again, include your name right here at the top, your email, and then right here, the actual subject line, which could be like this. And then you want to include an email like this. So I'm gonna scroll through these ones right here so you can see what it looks like. We have some landscapers hop on calls with us. Once again, having no idea what the hell we do. So please take a look at the resource, and then include the link to the resource. That's it. And then keep these as smart tags so it sends them the Zoom meeting link and all that stuff. Then you want to also remove them from a workflow, which is going to be from discovery called no-show workflow. In case if somebody, let's say, originally no-showed and then you get them rescheduled, you want to remove them from the no-show workflow in case if they are there. So that's what we want to do. Wait for it for 18 hours. And then moving to the next email, here's the subject line. Basically telling them that, hey, John, looking for the speaking with you here in 18 hours. Please take a look at the resource that we share with you, because once again, you need to know what we do. So what we are doing in these emails here when they book a call, we are only asking them to look at the resource, like just one resource. You don't want to send them to, all sorts of, different resources in every single email. You want to send them just to one resource for them to look at. So this way it's not confusing, and they know that they need to look just at that one particular thing, which is the most important thing for them to actually look at, that you want them to look at. Okay, so do that, then wait for 2 hours before the meeting begins. And send another email saying that, hey, John, please get ready for the call. It's going to happen quite soon. And then once again, include the link to the resource, okay? That exact same resource. Wait for 32 minutes before the call begins and send one last SMS saying that I'll see you in the next 30 minutes. That's it. Click on save, and you've got the discovery call confirmed workflow created. Now let's take a look at the no-show one and also the cancel one, which are basically the exact same. The only thing that changes is the trigger at the top. So with the no-show, you want to have a trigger where if they're moved to the no-show section on the opportunities tab right here from discovery call booked to no-show, then it's going to automatically put them in this workflow, which is going to be an SMS that's going to tell them that, hey, saw that you no-show to the call is good, when will be a good time to get you rescheduled. So you want to include right here the name of your setter. So this way it's kind of like a little bit of an authority boost for you, because it's not you reaching out to the prospect, it's the setter reaching out on behalf of you. So the prospect is going to feel like, yeah, this person is busy, they have a setter, they have a full team in place. So include the name of your setter if you have one, and then also include once again the niche color right here on the offer, so it reminds them what the offer is. Again, send an email saying that, hey, you missed it, and then have all of these ones right here written out right here as well. Then wait for 1 day, send the second email. Here's the subject line, here's the email. Once again, include a resource, and then as well allows them to reschedule with the link. Send an SMS as another bump again. And this is where you want to include, if you have case studies, really do your best to include some case studies. Got like an example case study right here. So just include some case studies right here as well and ask them to reschedule. Wait for 2 days, send an SMS, as you can see like this one, and then send an email, which is like the last one. With the canceled one, it's basically the exact same. The only thing that changes is the trigger. But the trigger is Appointment status, event type is normal, appointment status is cancelled. In calendar group, discovery calls, and then only for group calendars, yes. So this way, when somebody cancels the call, it then automatically puts them here, but all the SMSs and all the emails are exactly the exact same as for the no-show. So that's that. Next one, we have, let me see, we have sales call booked. So let me show you this one. So when you schedule the second call, for example, if you were not able to close them on that first call, then you have this one right here. You have the trigger, which is for the sales call calendar that we created. Click on save, and then put them in the opportunity, which is the sales call booked section. Send yourself a notification by email that the person has booked in a call, and then you send them the email with the confirmation link, as you can see right here. And here's the subject line, right? Remove them from a workflow, which is the no-show workflows, so that they do not receive double emails, basically. Wait for 43 minutes after the call is booked, and then send them a resource. Send them a case study if you have one. If you don't, then include one of the resources right there that we talked about. And one of the things that you can do is, which is really good, is create a playlist. So let's say if you have a YouTube channel, create a playlist of all the videos that you create, right? Like for example, all these 4 videos that we talked about right here. Create a playlist and figure out a unique name to that playlist. It could be something along the lines of like landscaping, business growth strategies evolve, for example, right? Name the playlist like that, and then literally include the link to that video that you're talking about right here. But that video is in that playlist. So when they open up that YouTube video, they can see that video, but they can also on the side see the name of the playlist, and they can see a bunch of other videos, which are really valuable. So this means that they get prompted to look at just that one video right there, but then they see all these other ones. They're like, okay, well, this one is curious as well. They click on that one. Then they check another one. Then they check another one. And the more you can have them consume before they speak with you on that next call, for example, the more nurtured they're going to be, and the more invested they're going to be, to a point where it really makes it super simple to close them for like a 10K deal, basically, right? So this is how you can structure the email, basically. So include the actual resource information, then the link right here below. Then wait for 18 hours before the call begins. Send them a reminder with such a subject line. And then right here below, as you can see, all this other information. Send another email right here, as you can see right here, with some more results. Once again, a playlist right there as well. And then wait for 32 minutes before the call begins and send them an SMS like this, as you can see. Click on save on that, and then you've got this workflow right here created as well. And then what we want to do is create the workflows for sales call canceled or sales call no-show, basically, which both are the exact same. You just change the trigger once again, like I mentioned to you, and then create an opportunity, which means that they get moved to the either sales call canceled or sales call no-show. Wait for 2 minutes and then send them an SMS, saying that, hey, I assume something came up as you were not able to make it to our call today. Send an email, right, like this. Wait for 1 day, send another email like this, just asking them to reschedule. Wait for 2 days, send an SMS like that. And then for 3 days, send them a breakup email, basically, saying that, hey, let's reschedule. And then once again, the exact same thing with the no-show one. Exact same thing, the exact same copy. Basically just copy it. And then the other final ones is gonna be the follow-up call book. So when they schedule the final call, which is the follow-up call, if you were not able to close them on the sales call, then here's the trigger. Once again, call booked. Create an actual opportunity like this, as you can see, follow-up booked, and then send an internal confirmation to yourself by email that the new follow-up call has been booked. Send them an email. Right here, I'm gonna change the name, follow-up call booked with so-and-so. And then the actual, confirmation link and all that stuff. Wait for 43 minutes. Then the next one is going to be an email. Send them a resource once again. Share results, case studies. Once again, that link to the playlist that we talked about. Include that right here. Wait for 24 hours before the call begins. Send an email with some more resources, blah, 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 right? Just resources. That's literally what it is. Because when you speak with them, especially, and then you have the next call schedule, you want them to be as much nurtured and as much invested as possible. So include some really good results, or more stuff like some really good resources. If you have case studies, results, like that's preferred, but if you don't, then include other types of resources that they will find really valuable. Here's the SMS to send them 24 hours before the call begins. Then wait for 2 hours before the call begins. Send them an email, which basically once again tells them that, hey, looking forward to speaking with you. Take a look at the resource once again. And then 32 minutes before the call begins, send an SMS as well, saying that, hey, looking forward to speaking with you here soon. So you do that. And then the last ones here is going to be follow-up no-show and follow-up canceled, which both are once again the exact same. you have the trigger right here, have the SMS saying that, hey, I assume something came up as you're not able to join our call today, and then an email prompting them to reschedule, as you can see, and then wait for 1 day, send another email prompting them to reschedule, include some results as well, some case studies, some resources, and then wait for 2 days and then send another SMS and then another email right here, as you can see. So that's what you want to do. And same exact thing is for the follow-up canceled as well. That's that. And then you want to have some workflows created for like a lost deal, for example, if they do not buy, if they're not qualified, or if they sign up. Because in the opportunity section right here, you have these other sections that are very end. If they are basically not qualified, whether it's a lost deal or it's a closed deal. Because, and I'm not gonna explain this in this video, it's gonna be too technical, especially in the beginning, you don't really need that too much. But eventually when you book more calls, you have clients you're signing and all that stuff, you want to create Facebook custom audiences. So this way, when let's say you sign a client and then goes ahead and puts that prospect into a Facebook custom audience, and eventually you can grow it to such a point we can start creating lookalike audiences on Facebook from these signed clients. So imagine how powerful that can be, because if you sign clients, you have this list of signed clients, and then you tell Facebook, hey, I've got these individuals that bought from me, they gave me 10 grand each. Go ahead and find other people who are similar to this. It's gonna find other landscaping companies that have the same issues, that have the same interests, that also are more likely to pay you 10 grand. And if you do that, then the amount of money that you can make there is like insane, as an example, right? So that's why you want to create these custom audiences longer term. But I'm not going to explain in this video how to do it. I might record a separate video, something later on how to do it. And if you want that guide, then let me know in the comments below if I should make that video or not. But yeah, that's what you want to do as well. And a similar thing you want to do as well for unqualified people, because if somebody is unqualified, you want to create a custom audience as well out of unqualified individuals. So this way you can then use that as well to tell Facebook that, hey, look, find me other people who are similar to, let's say, these clients that I've signed, but stay away from these unqualified individuals, okay? So this way you don't waste money on unqualified people, basically, right? And then the last thing is as well for lost deals. If you lose a deal, for example, then create a workflow like this as well, basically. So yeah, that's about that. So this is how that works. We've got all the workflows created. And the next thing I'm gonna show you is the zaps. So what to do with the zaps. So let's go ahead on actually creating that. The first thing you want to do is you want to create a kind of like a sheet like this. You can basically just go and copy this one right here as an example. You just want to have a data sheet where you can include all of your leads. Okay, so include the date when lead comes in, the first name, last name, email, phone number, and then Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, which basically are going to be questions that you're going to include in the instant form. And then these question answers are going to appear right here, basically. You also want to include a campaign, ad set, and ad, which is gonna include the attribution for which campaign, from which ad set, and which ad the lead came from. Then you want to include here triage working. So if you have a setter, then include that the name of the setter, whatever is, I don't know, let's say Jessica. The name of the setter is Jessica as an example. She's gonna be calling the leads. So when the lead comes in, she marks that lead that, hey, I'm working on this lead, basically, right? Then you want to have triage, volume, and status. Triage basically is the status of the intake process of a lead, whether it's a no pickup, whether it's a voicemail, hung up, invalid number, it's a prospect that asked to call back, or it's a prospect that was booked in on an appointment. Also volume, the amount of times that Jessica has called the lead, and then as well the ultimate status. Was the person, let's say, maybe like that's it, like Jessica gave up on calling a lead because that's it, she already called 10 times and the person has not picked up. So that's it, like no need to call anymore. She's gonna mark it as double dial completed. So basically dialing completed. Or maybe in other words, the appointment was booked in and then you close the deal, you mark it as closed right here, right? And then notes as the last thing right here, where, she can include some notes. And then the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go on Zapier. So Zapier.com, create an account right here. It's gonna allow you to get all sorts of stuff connected from Facebook ads to the sheet, and then send people to the go high level pipeline and all that stuff. It's gonna connect all sorts of softwares together, which is exactly what you need. But before we can create the necessary automations right here that we need to create, I've got a list of them right here. We need to go ahead and first create a Facebook lead form that we're gonna use on the ad. So let's go into the Facebook Ads Manager right now, and let's get that created real quick. So go on to the Facebook Ads Manager, or more of like in the Meta Business Suite, and then go into the Instant Forms section, and then click on Create a new form. I'm gonna include the actual name of the form. So I want to include the date, That's usually how I like to start off with, the date, and then the offer that I'm gonna be running right here. So the offer is going to be this right here. I'm gonna do like this. From here, I'm gonna include more volume, and then right here, let's see. Yeah, I'm not gonna allow Facebook to optimize any of this. I'm just gonna clear it like this. Not gonna tailor anything for anybody. I want everybody to go through the exact same process every single time. So click on next, and then you wanna include the headline right here. Now I've got another video, I'm gonna put it in the description probably, where I walk through the entire process, how to create an instant form, just to save time for you guys on watching this video, because I know it's already quite lengthy. But I'm gonna just include some dummy name right here, so that it allows me to actually create a form. But like I said, I'm gonna create more of like add a video in the description that explains everything A to Z, how to create the entire instant form and all that stuff, so you'll be able to go through that. But what I will do right here is I will include a question, because I'll need to have questions that I'm gonna include right here in these sections for you guys to see how that basically looks like. So one of the questions I'm gonna ask them, for example, is what's your current MRR, for example. Then I'm gonna include another question, what state. These are not the questions that I would use for the instant form. I explain in a separate video how to structure the questions, which once again I'll attach in the description section down below. But I'm using these just to kind of like go through this instant form creation process, so I can actually show you how the entire automation connection is gonna work basically. So you want to get that connected, include a link to the privacy policy, and then click on next. Let's see what else this have. Description, dummy description, and then ending is gonna be the link to your landing page that we created. So the landing page that we made. So you're gonna take the link or the landing page that we made. Obviously you wanna make sure that you've got the domain attached, obviously, right? And then call to action, include a call to action, which once again explain the call to action in a separate video, which I'll attach in the description section down below. So now we have the actual form created. And the next thing we want to do is we want to now go on to Zapier. I'm going to create a new Zap. The very first Zap that we're going to create is new leads. So this is how that is going to look like. The trigger is going to be the a new Facebook ad lead that came in. So you're gonna click on this, and then trigger event is new lead basically. After this, you want to log into your Facebook account. It's gonna ask you to log in. So log yourself in right there, and then you wanna choose the page. And then after this, you wanna choose the form, and the form is the one that we exactly just made. So make sure that you choose that one, click on continue, and then test the trigger. Now you don't have any leads whatsoever that have come in so far because we just created this form right now. That's why Facebook and Zapier are gonna create a dummy lead, as you can see right here, with all the questions that include what's your current monthly recurring revenue, what's the state that you're in. It sends a dummy data. We're gonna select that, and then the next step is going to be to send them to your communication channel. So whatever it is, whether you use Discord, Slack, or whatever for your client communication or your team communication, you just choose that. And then I'm gonna use Discord in this particular example. I'm gonna include the action event, which is send channel message, and then I need to log into the actual Discord server and into my account as well. So make sure that you do that. Cool. So once we have logged in, you click on continue, and then you want to send the actual message to a particular channel, and then you want to construct the message. I've got this dummy server right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new channel, and I'm gonna name this channel as a new leads. Basically, gonna keep it as private channel. Gonna save it. Add Zapier as one of the members there, and now we're gonna use this channel right here as the channel where the leads are gonna be sent to. So you're gonna choose this, and then text message is going to be the actual message that is gonna be sent. So this is kind of like how you want to construct it, saying that everyone new Facebook lead came in, and then you want to include the information about that lead. So I'm gonna include the name, email, phone number, and then also the answers to the questions. So monthly recurring revenue, state, and then also I like to include the attribution as well. So ad name, ad set name, and then campaign. So when I see the lead comes in, I already know from which specific ad set that lead is coming from. So we're gonna include the smart information now. So you want to include the name, click on this plus button, and then full name right here. Basically include that. Email is this one, phone number. I think I might have missed out on including the phone number here. Yes, I forgot to include a phone number right here, guys. So make sure that you don't forget to do that. Like I said, I did this purposely quickly. So I'm gonna attach another link below in the description explaining how to properly set up the instant form. But you want to include a phone number right here as well. So I'm just gonna include whatever, I don't know, phone. And then monthly recurring revenue is that question that we included, right? Which is this one. And then state is this one right here. Ad name, this one, ad set name, and then campaign name. Perfect, that's that. And then ping users, true, false, and then name the actual bot. For example, Facebook leads. That's it, continue, test step, and it's now gonna send a message in this channel saying that, hey, a new lead came in. So whenever a new lead comes in, it's gonna get triggered and it's gonna send a message in this channel every single time that this specific person came in. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create the other thing, which is the go high level stuff. So get that lead sent on go high level. So click go high level, choose the event as add contact, add/update contact. And now you wanna log into your go high level account. Perfect, you've just done that. You know, when you click on sign, it's gonna ask you to log into your go high level, then choose the sub account. And I've just chosen the sub account that we made basically. So click on continue from there. And then right here, you want to include these details. So obviously include the first name of the person and then the last name. You can also include a full name as an example. And then a phone number, which I missed out on. Email, I think I also might have missed out on. No, I think email is here, yes. So include the email. And then a lot of these details you can skip. The one very important thing is going to do is going to mark this as a lead, but then the other thing as well is you want to go into tags right here. So you want to send them as a lead to go high with that tag, which is the tag that we created, that we had on the workflows. So you want to include the actual tag that we had for the workflows, which is Facebook ad lead, and make sure that that tag is exactly the exact same as it is on the workflow, or else it's not going to trigger. So Facebook ad lead, as you can see. And then right here, we also have Facebook ad lead. So make sure that you choose that. And then after this, you click on continue. In test step, it's gonna send that prospect as a lead on go high in the contact section. As you can see right here, it just popped up. So click on that. And then the last thing is add step, which is going to be to send them to the Google Sheet that we just made. Google Sheets. And the event is gonna be create spreadsheet row like this, and then choose the account, log into your account. Click on continue after that, and then choose the drive. And then you want to choose the spreadsheet, which is the one that we made, this one. And then the worksheet is going to be this worksheet right here, leads CRM. Choose that leads CRM. Is going to pop up some information right here below now. And you want to include right here the date. So date created when the lead come in, and then of course include the first name, last name, email, phone number as well, and then a question, answers to these questions. So let's say the first question that we have right here is going to be MRR, and then the second one is going to be state, and the other ones we're not going to use, so I'm going to hide those. So we're going to use the first one, which is going to be monthly recurring revenue, include that, and then the second one is going to be the state. What state are you in? Done. Campaign, when I include the name of the campaign, and then name of the ad set, and then name of the ad, just like that. And yeah, that's it. Click on continue, click on test step. It's gonna send that lead right now, like this. Only thing that I've seen is that sometimes it like messes up with the, like it doesn't put it as, normal. It kind of like just makes it be like messed up like that. So just basically adjust this and then it's gonna look fine. And then I just need to format these dates for it to actually reflect the proper way, basically, and then it's gonna show up in the proper way right here. But that's basically done. Now we'll click on publish, and now we have this very first Zap created. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is create the Zap for the booking automations. So we'll go ahead and create one right now on Zapier right here. Name it as the booking automations, and then the trigger that you need to have is the lead connector, which is pipeline stage changed. Make sure that you select your lead connector account, click on continue, and then choose the actual pipeline, which is going to be the sales process for us right here. And then we need to choose DC booked for discovery calls booked in. Click on test trigger. It's going to find a dummy record. Click on that, and then after this, we want to send people to our communication channel, which in this particular case is Discord, to send a message in the channel saying that, hey, a new person has booked in a call. So choose that, click on continue. And then right here, we need to select the actual channel. So speaking about the channels, let's actually go ahead and create a new channel. I usually like to call it the GHL automations. And then right here, we need to select channel. Let's refresh the page so that it shows up, which is this one. And then we want to include the message right here that's being sent to us when somebody books in. This is the information that I usually like to include. their name, so include their first name and also the last name. I also include their email, phone number, and also the source from where did we actually book in this appointment from, whether it is from the cell booking calendar on the landing page, or whether it is the appointment setter, or it might be some sort of another calendar that you might have created basically. Then I choose this right here. Bot name could be bookings, for example, and then you click on continue. That's the step. It's gonna send a message in this channel right here, right now. As you can see here, the message came through, and then after that I click on publish and set the Zap live. Next, let's create the no-show automation for when somebody no-shows to the appointment. I'm going to name it as a no-show. Trigger is going to be, once again, the lead connector app. Pipeline stage changed. Select your lead connector account, click on in pipeline, sales process, and DC no-show. Click on continue. Test trigger is gonna create a dummy record right here. Click on continue, and then we want to send them to the Discord again. Send channel message, choose the account on Discord, and then right here we need to select the channel. I'm gonna use the GHL automations and say something along the lines of like, new person just no-show to the appointment. This is the structure that I like to use. Once again, include their actual name, email, phone number, source of the appointment, and also mention reach out to them to reschedule. So like this, bot name could be no shows, for example, and then click on continue. That's the step. It's gonna send a message right here saying that the person just no show to the appointment. Click on publish, and now we have this Zap live. And then the last one right here is going to be for canceled appointments. Same thing if somebody no shows, for example, but in this particular case, if somebody cancels the actual call, name it as a meeting canceled, choose lead connector, pipeline stage changed, continue, in pipeline sales process, and then DC canceled. Next up, send them to Discord, send channel message, select the channel, GHL automations. So once again, exactly like this. Bot name could be cancellations. Click on continue, test the step. Should send a message right here, as you can see. And then we click on publish. I've got the setter right here, need to reconnect my account. All right, now should be good. So we get this live. Yep, now we got the Zap live. So that's really all about the automations that you need. You obviously can create much more in-depth automations, which I can create a separate video about, but this is all that you need in the very beginning. These are the main ones right here. The next thing that we need to do, which is the last thing, is to pretty much go ahead and launch the ads. But before we launch the ads, we need to create a lookalike audience list. If you don't know what a lookalike audience is, it's basically you going on Facebook and telling them that, hey, look, I've got this list of people. Can you find other people who are similar to this? And the idea right here is for us to basically scrape a list of these landscapers that we can feed to Facebook and tell them that, hey, look, here's a list of landscapers. I want you to find other ones that are similar to these ones right here as well for me to book calls with them, basically, right? So I want to scrape a list. Now, if you currently do not have a list at the moment, I'm gonna show you how you can find one. But if you already have a list, let's say of previous leads that you've generated or booked appointments or clients that you've signed in your niche, then go ahead and use those ones. And if needed, then expand with a couple more leads in our list with the tutorial that I'm going to show you right now. So what you want to do is you want to go on this software called Apollo.io. I found this to be the best software out there for this, and you want to create a account right here. Now I think, if I'm not mistaken, it costs about what is like $49 a month, or if you choose monthly, then it's about $60 a month. But they offer a free trial, if I'm not mistaken, where you can pretty much just create an account, get the list, and then pretty much after that cancel the plan without getting billed. But go ahead and create an account right here. And once you are in your account, you want to then navigate to people right here. And then you want to follow this structure right here when it comes down to creating a list. The very first thing you want to do is you want to click on email status, make sure that this is selected as verified, so that this way it only shows you verified, emails. Then in the job titles, you want to include these following job titles: founder, CAO, co-founder, founder and CAO, co-founder and CAO, and lastly, owner. So these 6 job titles, so this way it only shows you people with these types of titles in those companies. After this, we want to go ahead and choose a location. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm basically gonna go after the US, but if you are working in a different market, then obviously go ahead and choose that. But once you have that selected, the next thing you wanna do is you want to include the actual industry itself that you are in. And the way how you do that is through clicking this button right here, industry and keywords, and then company keywords. And then right here, you can basically search up any type of keyword. So for example, since we are in the landscaping niche, I'm gonna write down landscapers. And as you can see right here, I've got multiple, or in other words, 111 people that show up with this specific keyword. I can also use landscaping services. For example, this shows up 3.5 thousand entries of companies that are basically matching this keyword, landscaping services. Or I can use, I don't know, roofers as an example. If I'll be in the roofing niche, probably use roofing, for example. It shows up 10,000, as you can see. So really all you need is between 500 to 1,000 individuals in that list for the lookalike audience to work pretty good. So you don't need all these 10,000 or 20,000, whatever it might show right there. Just basically go and scrape 500 to 1,000 instead. So if I show an example how that looks like, if I choose landscaping services, I've got all these individuals right here. What I would do is I will click on this button right here, and then right here I want to include the number of people that I want to export. So for me, since I'm on a complete free plan, I haven't include my credit card details right here. It's gonna allow me to only export 25 people at a time. But if you got the plan, then you can say, for example, put in like 1,000 as an example, and then click on apply, and it's gonna pop up a window for you to proceed to the next steps. Now for me, it doesn't because I've got the free plan. But if I show how that looks like, if I would choose 25, click on apply, then it selects all these people, and then I want to click on export right here, and then save right here, and then it's gonna go ahead and export the actual file. And you might need to wait for a little bit of time before it like populates and loads up and then sends you the actual file itself. But once you have the file downloaded, the last thing you want to do is you want to put it into a sheet like this, which is the sheet that you're going to use to send to Facebook for the lookalike audience. What you want to include in there is the first name of the individual, last name, email, phone number, city, state, and also the country itself. So this is how it's going to look like. Now on Facebook, you want to use these shortened versions of these initials right here. So for first name, you would use FN. Last name, you would use LN. For state, you would use ST as an example, so on and so forth. And you basically want to include all these details right here. And once you have the list cleared, the last thing you want to do after that is go ahead and verify those emails once more to make sure these are actually legit emails, basically. The software that I like to use is this one right here, Email List Verify. Costs like $5 for 1,000 records. So if you scrape a list of 1,000 people, then you pay just $5 to get those 1,000 emails verified. And then from those 1,000 emails, maybe you have, let's say, like 900 or 850 that are actually valid. So then you basically go ahead and clean that list, put it into a sheet like this, like I mentioned, and then make sure that you go ahead and download it as a CSV file. Now, once you've done this, the next step you want to do is you want to go on to the Facebook audience section on the Ads Manager. So you want to go into the audience tools right here, and then you want to create a custom audience right here. So click on create a custom audience. Then it's going to ask you from what exactly do you want to create a custom audience from. We want to use a customer list right here. Click on next. And this is where Facebook then kind of like shows you the information that they accept and the information that they do not accept and things like that. You just simply click on next. And this is where you then want to go ahead and actually upload the template, or more so like the CSV file that you downloaded. So I've just went ahead and uploaded the list. When it asks you this information right here, just choose no. Audience label, you can basically choose this optionally, you can mention that as qualified leads as an example. And then audience name, include what is the actual audience name. So for example, I would name it like this, Landscapers Apollo List. And then I, for example, would also include maybe a number of some sort of a, identifier that would allow me to identify which specific list that is as an example, right? So I include that. And then if I want to, I can include a more in-depth description with some more details right here. So that this way, if I'm actually going to create multiple custom audiences, then I'm able to look at the audience dashboard right here and see which one is which very quickly by reading what is the actual description, what is the actual name itself. So then after that, you click on next, and it's going to right here ask you to basically choose the identifier that is selected for that specific column. So for example, for FN, like we had in the very first column, Facebook already knows that it's the first name. So it already selects these ones accordingly in the correct way because I already have the correct naming identifiers on the CSV file. But you want to make sure that you go through these, make sure everything is correctly set up right here, and then click on import and create. It's going to take a little bit of time to upload right here, nothing too long, but as you can see right here, it loads up right now, and then it basically right now is in the populating stage. But the next thing we want to do after this is we want to create another audience, which is a lookalike audience now. So you want to go ahead and basically choose the source, which is this audience that we just created. So you click on that. It's gonna ask you for the audience location. So since we are going after the US and the list is also from the US, I'm gonna write that as the US. And here is where I want to then create these actual audience percentages. So with Facebook, you can create between 1 to 10% of a lookalike. So the list that you uploaded, it's gonna ask you how close do you want the list to be, or how close do you want the lookalike audience to be compared to the list itself. So 1% is the absolute closest, meaning that those people are gonna be the absolute most similar to the actual list, while 10% in theory means that it's gonna be, you know, very less likely to be the exact same match basically. But that doesn't mean that 1% is gonna work better than 10%. It could be really, you know, the fact that maybe like 7 or 8% works pretty much better compared to 1%. That's why you wanna be testing multiple one of them. So for the sake of this video, what I'm gonna do is I'll go ahead and create 5 ad sets today. Each of them is gonna be a lookalike audience. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this from number 1 to number 5 because I want to create 5 copies of a lookalike, and I'll basically choose these percentages. So as you can see right here, I want to do it like this. So this way I have 1% to 1 to 2% to the 3%, 3 to 4%, and 4 to 5%. And then after that, I click on create the audience. And as you can see right here, it now loads up and it's going to be in the population stage, but you are already able to go ahead and launch your ads with this lookalike audience. But before we go ahead and launch the actual ads itself, the other thing that we need to do is we need to create the ad creatives and the ad copies. And then after that, the last thing is really going to be to just pop into the ads manager and actually launch those ads with these lookalike audiences, with the ad creatives and the ad copies that we make, and set the ads live. Here is how the setup of that's going to look like. We are going to have 5 ad sets in each single one of them. We are going to include 2 creatives basically. So I'm going to create 2 creatives right now. One of them is going to be a creative design that I've seen working really well for my agency already. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy it and change the copy of it. And I'll show you that one here in a second. But the other one I'm going to create is I'm going to create it with the help of AI. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to come up with a couple of ideas of image-based ad curves that I can use. And then I'm going to ask ChatGPT to create one of them so that we can use it as an ad. So I'm going to ask a prompt like this to come up with 3 really good creative concepts. So let's see what it comes up with. So here's a couple of examples that ChatGPT came up with. If I don't really like them too much, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and ask it to come up with some other ideas. But one of the things that I just came up with was that I remember from our research earlier, a lot of the other agencies were running ads where there was a landscaper like standing with a whiteboard of some sort, right? And then there was a text written with what actually is the offer. And I've seen multiple of those being run by multiple agencies. So I think that that creative style right there is actually working really well for them. So what I would do in that case is I would actually go ahead and pretty much copy the same style with my offer and actually run that as an ad and see how that actually performs for me. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to create an image exactly like this so that then I can go ahead and put on the actual offer itself on that, I guess you can say like that whiteboard in a sense. Here's kind of like something that it came up with. The sign is a little bit too small, so I'll ask it to go ahead and create a bigger sign. All right, so here's what we have right now. I think this might do it. So let's actually download this and see if that's gonna work. So I'm gonna pop that right here on Canva. And the next thing that I wanna do is I want to follow this format where I call out the audience and then I give them what the offer is and I say it's guaranteed or they do not pay. So I want to call out the audience and then give them the offer. All right, so something like this should do it. Landscapers about 25K per month, get 10 5K plus landscaping projects in 30 days guaranteed or you do not pay. So extremely offer heavy. They see this right away. That's gonna get their curiosity. They're gonna click on the ad, fill out the form, and that's where we will either have the appointment center call them, or they will go ahead and pretty much scheduling the call themselves basically. So that's how we're gonna roll with it. And then the second one that I made is this one right here, which is literally just the black background with white text on it. I've seen this one working really, really well for my agency right now. So I would assume that it's gonna work really well for landscapers as well. It's the exact same format. So you can pretty much use the exact format right here as well. So what we need to do right now is we need to download these two and go ahead and upload them on the Facebook Ads Manager. So here we are on a brand new, fresh ad account, and you want to go into the campaigns level right here and then click on create. So once you click on create, the next thing you wanna do is you want to click on leads. There is multiple other options that Facebook also offers us to, which specific, campaign objective you might want to achieve, but we need to generate leads. So that's why we are going to go for leads. You then click on continue. Right here, you're going to include the actual campaign name. Now, the way how I like to include a campaign name is based on the offer that I'm actually running at that current moment in that specific campaign. So I'm going to name it after the offer. So 10 5K plus landscaping projects in 30 days guaranteed. Keep everything right here the exact same. Now it's gonna ask, which way do you want to pretty much allocate a budget, whether you want to use a CBO or an ABO. We're gonna go for ad set budget right here instead for now. And then after that, you want to click on next. Now you're gonna be in the actual ad set level where you will need to include audience that we created with the lookalike and multiple other details as well. So the first thing I'm gonna do right here is make sure that you choose this to be the instant forms, because we are gonna use instant forms in the very beginning. And then right here, go ahead and actually choose your Facebook page. After this, performance goal is going to show you two options, either maximize number of conversion leads or this one right here. In the very beginning, go ahead for this one right here because you want to generate as many leads as possible. And then right here, this is where you want to include the actual daily budget as to how much you're going to be spending. And now this is going to really depend on your budget, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to go for $50 a day in ad budget, and I'm going to launch 5 ad sets, each at $10 a day. So I have 5 ad sets running with those 5 lookalike audiences. If you, let's say, have $100 a day, then go for an ad budget of $20 per day per each ad set, but make sure that you always try to have enough audiences in place, between 3 to 5 ad sets being run at the same time with different audiences and the creatives, so that you're able to test it out. So like if you have $30 a day, then go for $10 a day per each and have 3, for example. Or if you have, let's say, like $40 a day, then you can go for $12.50, give or take, per day in ad spend, something along those lines. So do the math right there. Make sure that you allocate enough budget for each single ad set and you have at least 3 to 5 audiences being run at the same time. So I'm gonna go for 10 a day. And then after this, we're gonna go ahead and change the location. So we're gonna go for the US. And then right here, I like to click on this button, further limit the reach of your ads, because I want to pretty much be a bit more in control of what is the targeting that I'm gonna be using basically. So I'm gonna switch the setup right here. And then I need to change the actual age range. Now this is really gonna depend on what is your niche basically. So for landscapers, I'm actually not even really too sure. Let's actually ask ChatGPT what would it suggest. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to tell me the age range that it would suggest, and let's see what it spits out. So age range between 35 to 60. I will go a tiny bit for a younger age as well, in case there are some younger individuals that go ahead and launch a landscaping business as well. I'll go between 25 or 20, more so like 28, up until, let's see, what it suggests right here, 60 years old. 60. Yeah, I think we can go for 60 in the very beginning. Let's go for 60. And then I'm going to be seeing if there is a lot of older folks coming in where, let's say they're not the best quality, then we're going to go ahead and limit this down to closer to about 50 years old instead. But we can start off with 60 right here instead. Gender, I'm going to choose all genders, make sure everything is open right here. And the next thing we need to do is we need to actually include the lookalike audience. So make sure that you click on custom audience right here. And then open up lookalike audiences and choose the lookalike audience. So we're gonna go for 1% for this one right here. Choose as 1% from the list of qualified leads. It asks you to whether you want to use it as a suggestion. In the very beginning, I would recommend to turn that off. So this way, Facebook is strictly limiting itself to the lookalike potential of the leads that we actually uploaded. And then once it gets enough data longer term, after I have spent a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 on the ad account, then I can go ahead and check this, box on, because at that point Facebook already is going to have a better idea of what is the actual audience I'm going after. But now, since it's a complete brand fresh new ad account, they have no idea what audience am I even kind of like going after in a sense. So we'll do that. And then lastly, we want to also include languages. So I'm going to go for English US, since I'm targeting the States. And the last thing that I want to do is I want to click on placements right here, where all of my ads are going to be shown. And I want to include absolutely everywhere except for one specific platform location, which is under this tool right here, placement controls. And I want to find Facebook ads reels, which is this one right here. I want to check this one off because I've seen from experience that a lot of funnel hackers and bots are opting in on these ads from ads on Facebook Reels, especially on Android smartphones. So I'm going to go ahead and pretty much turn that one off because I don't want to waste my budget there and keep everything else selected as it is. Then the last thing I want to do right here in the ad set level is change the name of the ad set. Now the way how I usually like to do it is something along the lines of like this. I include the actual name of the audience, which is the number 1% lookalike. Then I include the country, genders, and also the age. This is usually the way how I like to name each ad set. Once I do this, I then want to click on the ads level, and this is where I'm gonna go ahead and upload the ad creatives. So I'm gonna click on single image or video right here, set up the ad creative. I'm gonna use an image ad. I'm going to upload these two right here that I made. Use this one, for example. Then it's gonna ask me to crop the sizes. I'm gonna just go for original for every single one of them. And this is where I need to then include the actual primary text, the headlines, and also the description of the ad itself. In regards to the ad copy, here is the structure that I like to use. Basically just calling out the market right here, tell them what the offer is, guaranteed earn or pay, and then I explain a little bit more about, the offer itself, like why am I able to make such a bold claim. Or in other words, I explain the service delivery a tiny bit right here, and then lastly right here also include some case studies. So if you have case studies, include some example case studies right here. If you don't have any, they just skip this part right here, just explain how are you able to make such a bold claim by explaining a little bit how you can actually deliver the results, and then once again have another call to action right here below. So here's the one that I just made. So once again, following this exact same structure right here, so you can go ahead and pretty much use it as inspiration as well. I'm gonna put that in the description right here and also in the primary text as well. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to include the actual headlines themselves. And here's how I usually like to use the headlines. I want to include 3 types of headlines so that Facebook has 3 options to choose from on these ads, depending on what they thinks is going to work the best for that specific individual. So here's examples that you can use. Just call out the audience and then the offer, then call out the offer by itself, and then also mention that it's limited time, for example, and then call out what the offer is. So those are the ones that I usually like to use. And then call to action is going to be learn more. And then we click on next. It's gonna ask us to, if we want to have any other kind of like variations right here in the background as an example, or in the ad creative. I usually, choose no logo, no need for anything right here. And then after that, click on done, and it's gonna load it up right here as you can see. Then I wanna go up right here and change the actual name of the ad. So I'm gonna name it for something that aligns with this specific ad creative right here in the background. So it could be board with text, for example, because the guy's standing with the board on the text on top of it. So I'm gonna use that one right there. And then I'm gonna scroll down, make sure everything is correctly set up right here when it comes down to headlines, the description, the call to action being learn more. And then the last thing I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna choose the actual instant form that we made, which is this one right here, for example. And of course, here it also shows the example of how it looks like. Now for me, since this is a dummy test instant form, then, this is the information that it shows right here. But like I mentioned, I'm gonna attach a video in the description that explains everything from A to Z when it comes down to the ads, how to properly set up an instant form from A to Z basically. So that's about that. Now the second thing I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna click on duplicate on this ad right here, because I'm going to go ahead and include that second ad creative right there that we made, which is that one with the black background. So here we go, we got the second ad creative right here. And then after this, I'm gonna go ahead and change the actual name of the ad creative, which could be black background, for example. So that's about it. I'll then go ahead once again into the ad set level, make sure that everything is properly set up right here with the naming and things like that. Make sure everything is good. $10 a day ad spend, age range, lookalike audience, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is good. And then make sure everything in the ads level as well is looking solid, everything is good. And after this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna exit this, and then what I'll do is I'll go ahead, select this, I'm gonna click on duplicate, and I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this 4 more times, because I'm gonna use a more of like create 4 more ad sets, so this way I have 5 running in total. And so then I'm gonna go ahead and change the actual audiences in each single one of them to those other percentage lookalikes that we created before. So the first one was 1%. The second I'm gonna use is gonna be 1 to 2%. So I'm gonna choose that one, go right here, and then change the naming to 1 to 2%. Lead list. After this, I'm gonna go on to the next one, where I'm going to change the percentage once again. For this one right here, I'm gonna use, let's see, I'm gonna use 2 to 3%. So choose that, and then change the actual naming itself, just like that. Going to the next one, I'm gonna use this one as 3% to 4%. Change the audience right here below. And then lastly, this one with the 4% to 5% lookalike audience, just like that. I'm gonna remove the copy right here, make sure everything is good with the naming, remove these copies. Good, that's good, that's good. Cool. And yeah, last thing I'm gonna do is once again go through the ad set level right here, make sure everything's properly set up with the audience, the targeting, the budget, everything shows up right here with the description, call to action, instant form, headlines, and all that stuff. Everything looks good. So last thing I'm gonna do is just basically click on publish right here, and then it's going to go ahead and set the actual ads live. Now for me, it's not gonna publish because I do not have a actual debit card or a payment account connected to this specific ads manager, because I'm using this ads manager as a test dummy for this specific video. But you wanna go ahead and connect your details right there, and then you click on publish, and that is pretty much about it. Then the ads are gonna go live, wait for a while for them to get approved, could take a couple hours, and then after that the ads are going to set live, and as the leads are coming in, they're going to be set and put into our actual spreadsheet right here that we made earlier in these data points right here. And then also it's going to send a message on Discord saying that, hey, a new lead came in, and they'll be sent to that landing page for them to actually go ahead and consume the Dex sales letter, and then go ahead and book a call right here below. Or alternatively, if you have a setter in place, the setter is gonna find these leads right here, mark them, and then go ahead and start calling them, start booking them in, and we start booking calls at some really, really good costs per booked call. And yeah, then after that, last thing that you'll be doing is hopping on sales calls, following through your sales script, pitching them the offer, the 10K offer, by explaining the exact structure of the offer, and then how it's gonna basically help them get to those revenue figures that they want to get to. Do the math basically, explain to them, hey, look, our pricing is 10K, right? And show the projection that using their closing rate, using their average client value, which could be 4K, 5K, 10K, whatever is their average client typically worth to them. Using those numbers against them, I would show that the projected revenue that we could be looking at here from the downsell of those 60 estimates over a period of 90 days is, let's say, like 90K, 100K, 150K, whatever it is. And our pricing for the program is just $10,000, but we will pretty much help them build out the entire infrastructure, do absolutely everything from A to Z. And that makes it be a complete no-brainer for these guys, and they go ahead and basically buy. So that's the entire structure right here. Everything else is pretty simple from here on out. So yeah, guys, if you found this video quite valuable, then drop a like, drop a comment down below with any questions you have or any specific thoughts you have about the video, things like that. But yeah, I'll basically be seeing you in the next one.